YouTube, Basty. This I've got in. This will be in the Blitzkrieg shop tomorrow. Maybe it depends. I need to go in and get strings off them, so I'll drop this off. I just got this in for basically a clean and a setup. Bridge was away out here somewhere. It's not that complicated to work. It's one of these 3-point bridges which you get on a lot of Matsumoto guitars, because I actually replaced the one on my PB 1500, which is a top of the line, more expensive than the John Taylor from Duran Duran, because this is only an SB 1000. Mine's a PB 1500, so it's 500 better. There's a carved top at one of these bridges, and it was bent, and because it was so bent, the strings just popped out it. So I swapped the bridge for that with the one that was in my Hondo bass, and I bought one of these Epiphone bridges and stuck it on the Hondo bass. Basically exactly the same thing. I don't mind it. It's fine. It's miles better than the bridge that's on my 1968 Gibson. There's bits missing. Well, there's bits missing from it, as in it doesn't have the cover for it, and also it doesn't have some sort of lever with a spongy thing that jumps up and mutes the strings, because that used to be a thing. People used to want to. You see people with bits of foam stuck below the strings to make it just boom, 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 boom. So there's no sustain whatsoever. Don't get that. Yeah, so this one's a 2007 one. I might have already said that. And it's actually in really good condition. It kind of didn't look it when I got it, just because it was that dirty. I had to make a back plate, so I've made it out of aluminium checker plate, which is arguably better than a plastic one, because it's metal and it conducts electricity, so I've got it earthed, so it's like a shielding thing for the pots. Not that you really need it on a bass like this. So these are 30-inch scale. The EBO, the EB3 is... my pal Buster's got one. He bought it. You could see just by looking at his face he hated it. I dig them. I like them. It is quite it's a bit neck heavy, but it's not that heavy, if you know what I mean. it's relatively light, and it's got the mud bucker, which is, it does the when you try to play free, it makes perfect sense, but it doesn't do your sort of it doesn't sound like a P bass really, no matter what you do. I even had a Black Sabbath one. I used to use one in basically the same model as this in the Black Sabbath band. I did notice a bit of a difference because I was using 2 basses, one for like normal tuning for the first few songs, then we switched into drop C sharp, so I was using another bass, and all the other basses I'm using, these Japanese things are, the equivalent of thousands of pounds worth now. So it was noticeable when I switched from a couple of £100 to a couple of £1,000 bass. So I gave it to the drummer basically. That one I painted stripey and stuff like that. He's a big Sabbath fan. I knew I had to go to a Sabbath fan. But I mean, it's totally fine. It's just a case of getting used to it. A lot of people use these for, like, if you're a guitarist, because it's shorter scale. I don't think that these things really apply very much. For me, it was just, I bought one of these. I bought the 8th one, and probably the first one in Scotland, and probably 8th one in the UK, because it was the serial number was 98000008. It wasn't as good as the later on ones, so this is later on. This is a Chinese one. It doesn't even say on it, so I don't know where this one's made. SJ probably tells you where it's from. Samick. Don't know, but it's better than the one I originally had. I think maybe they refined it after a couple of years. So I sorted out what was wrong with it. This one seems to have some sustain. You know what I mean? It's got sustain. The one I had was like dump, 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 boom, boom, boom. Then again, I didn't know how to set up guitars at that time. So that's the tone at full. I've turned the tone all the way off. No, just turn the volume up a wee bit. That'll probably just make the speaker overload, so I might not do that. But these are nice wee basses, and the best looking ones. I was always aware that when I started playing the guitar, I'd got my Epiphone SG, and I was ended up playing the bass in a band, and then I wanted to have an SG bass and have to get one. Couldn't get them back then. The only time you could get an SG bass was if you got like an original 70s Gibson for thousands of pounds, or like the random stab in the dark at a Japanese copy. There was no Epiphone one, that's why I bought it, so it was 98 that I bought mine. Actually, I was playing along with Jesse. It was funk though, so it's not really this rhythm. Pointless thing about going on to the guitar amp. I might have to wait for the guitar amp to warm up though, and I'll play fuzz bass over the top of it. Tube amps take me well to warm up. I could just basically keep on going all day, try and keep this to 10 minutes. Yeah, so EBO, pretty much mint condition. It is missing the truss rod cover. I'll see if I've got one. I think it's annoying because I was going to take the Epiphone one off my my Black Sabbath bass because it's I'd painted everything including the headstock, so I didn't see Epiphone on it, but I left the truss rod on it with a big E on it so you could tell it was an Epiphone. So it doesn't have one, but I mean obviously it doesn't do anything. You don't really see it. It's just slightly ugly 3 screw holes. The rest of it seems to be pretty good. Pretty much no fret wear. There are screw holes here, which implies it's had some other type of bridge. To be honest, I don't know why you would. Do you know, I mean, Buster was saying it's like, if I don't like this bridge, and I'm happy with it. It doesn't bother me. It does mean there's quite a big distance. I was talking about this with a Rickenbacker I got a shot off with my pal Simon. It's like there's quite a big difference between the strings and the body because the neck's kind of up here a bit, and then the bridge is quite high up, so it's kind of, you know, like when I did, I put one of these pickups, or I put an Artec version of this pickup into my pal Ivor's P-Bass last week, and I had to totally recess it into the body to get it to fit, you know, so the strings didn't hit off it, because on a P-Bass the fretboard's much closer to the top of the body, But it's part of the thing about it being an EBO, and they do have their own characteristics. Actually, Nick in Crankenhouse, the band I'm in, playing guitar, plays one of these, and they're quite hard to use because they take up so much space. But see, because he's got such a frequency range, I can just pretty much play it on bridge pickup, really shrill, and everything else is filled in with the EBO, because if you put it up loud enough, it's really pick up your wall of sound. In some ways quite difficult to play unless you're quite good at on the bass, really, to use it properly. You know, it's that you've got to be a bit more right. But I mean, if you get one of these and you think, oh, there's something wrong with it, same thing happened to me with my original one. It was like, and then I tried playing along with Free, because I get Andy Fraser and Free plays one of these, and suddenly it's like, aha, that's what it does. It's a really fat sound. I don't know how to describe it apart from being fat. Which is difficult to use in a band, because I'd only played for like 2 years when I had mine, but I used to always find it was either you couldn't hear me or it was too loud, and it seemed to be such a slight. That could have been the band though. I found it harder to, when I moved on to a P bass, it was much easier, so you could still hear me. Even if I was slightly quiet, you could hear me, or if I was too loud, you could still hear everything else. With the big shelf slabs of mud getting flung at you, if you're too loud, you can't hear anything else, and if you're too quiet, you can't hear the bass at all. So it's a real balancing act. But then again, that could have been the band I was on. So try to squeeze a bass in if I can. Rock on, catch you later.